Hey guys, Dan Malone here from MassLive.com, alongside, as always, Andrew Sear of the Massachusetts Daily Collegian. As you can probably tell by the Dunkin' Donuts Rhode Island logo banner behind us, we're in Kingston, Rhode Island, following UMass basketball's, I don't even know what the final score was. That's how bad it was. 68 to 50. 68 to 50 final. A game in which UMass had scored just 12 points at the half. It looked legitimately like this team might go into halftime with just single digits. A Jabari Hines three-pointer with 1:29 left saved them and pushed them over that threshold of embarrassment. It was, one of the worst shooting halves I've ever seen in person. UMass won just 5 for 26. The game in general started really slowly. The first points for either team didn't come until about 4 minutes in. It was just a 2-0 game, 6 minutes into play. And UMass, while Rhode Island eventually did kind of find their stride a little bit, UMass never did. It was 34-8 at one point, and people are just kind of looking around being like, is this for serious? I'm imagining people maybe tuning in a little bit late on TV. The game was on CBS Sports Network, checking the score and being like, wait, they have 8 points with 2 minutes left to play? What's going on here? So it was just ugly all around, and it put them in a huge hole where UMass made a nice push in the second half, actually cut the deficit from 26 down to 10, and it was just too much because they had played so poorly in the first half that there just wasn't enough to be done in the second half to make up for that.
Yeah, and saying they came out to a slow start was a bit of an understatement. It was their worst half of basketball we've seen from this team the entire year. But I think what I noticed most is on those possessions, you saw so many times whoever would take the ball up would make one pass and it was instantly right into a shot. There wasn't really a lot of ball movement. They weren't trying to work things out. They weren't looking to the post. They just kind of took the first time they saw the basket. Anytime they saw it, they were just chucking from anywhere. I think they shot 19% in the first half.
Yeah, 19.2%.
5 of 26, something like that. But just all around, very poor performance from UMass. And no matter who you're playing, no matter who you have on your team, anytime you start in that kind of hole, the chances are heavily stacked against you. But like you mentioned, that run in the second half, they finally got some baskets going. Started off by an Antoine Space 3. But
they went to the press a little bit.
They did, and you saw as soon as their guards would cross half court, that's when UMass would double. With either Clark, Seth Berger was coming over to help out a lot. But just like I said, all in all, pretty poor performance from UMass. They have a quick turnaround. They host LaSalle
48 hours
on Saturday.
Malone Center.
Yeah, and that game definitely has some big implications, doesn't it, Dan?
Yeah, we'll get to that in a little bit. But you brought up something about the press. That helped them get back in the game, but it was also the thing that Derek Kellogg talked about after they kind of made it so they weren't ever going to get over that hump, because it got them into foul trouble. I think URI was in the double bonus with 9 minutes to play. When that pressure would break down, it would set up the Rams with some easy buckets. So the thing that kind of helped them get energized, they didn't have any confidence after not making any shots, was the same thing that kind of kept them at bay to the point, where it was 10 points, it got back up to 15, it got back up to 20. And this game they never really got over the hump, even though they did start to try to establish some stuff with Rashawn Holloway in the paint. He was actually the leading scorer tonight with 11 points, which, that's all I really need to say. When Rashawn Holloway, who has played better recently, is your leading scorer, that's not a game you're going to win. Not on a team where Trey Davis, Jabari Hines, and Dante Clark need to be doing things. And tonight, Jabari Hines made 3 of 16 shots. Trey Davis scored just 7 points. Dante Clark scored 7 or 10. He missed 4 straight free throws in the first half when maybe they could have kind of kept things close. Just so many things went poorly. And as Derek Kellogg said, this team's not good enough to win games when they're not making some easy layups, when they're not scoring in transition. And even against a Rhode Island team that's not great, they were 500 in the league coming into this game. They were without their 2 best players, in E.C. Matthews and Hassan Martin, and they just ran UMass out of the gym. That's not a good sign, considering Derek Kellogg had been talking about how this team had been playing some of its best basketball, which I agreed with. They had played really well in some games coming into this. But like you said, they got a quick turnaround going into that LaSalle game. They really need to win that game.
Yeah, they do. And if they lose that game, they're guaranteed a spot in that bottom 4, which means they're playing in that game on Wednesday.
Which means you got to win more games back to back in Brooklyn if you want to do anything. Maybe playing in that game gives them a better chance to actually win a game in Brooklyn, because they're probably going to be playing a LaSalle or George Mason again, and that's just better than having to play like Richmond or Davidson. But still, you don't want to be in the bottom in the bottom 4 of the league. That's just not somewhere where UMass basketball, having been where they were a couple of years ago, to fall that far would be embarrassing, frankly. So there's a lot on the line when LaSalle comes, and this is a team they already beat on the road. You have to think that they're going to try to wipe this one out of their minds as quickly as possible, given how everything went so poorly and how quickly the turnaround is. So we'll see. We'll see how they come out in the first 5-10 minutes of that game on Saturday. See if some buckets are falling. How do they react? If they're not falling, how do they react? Because you can't have a performance like this again. Because your season's basically over at that point. We're down to the nitty gritty. So, like you said, not a whole lot positive to take from this game. I know we're gonna head out of here as quickly as we can to drive back to. So the UMass players are not the only one who want to move on from this as soon as possible. So I guess here we'll see you back at the Malone Center on Saturday for Senior Day, home finale, and after that concert that's pushing everything back a little bit.
Yeah, it's gonna be a late start.
Late start. This video is gonna be coming pretty late on Saturday night. So
late night, folks. We'll get a nice treat.
But we'll be looking forward to it then. Sear, thank you very much.
No problem. Thanks, Dave.
We'll catch you next time.